very enjoyable experience.
Well, you graduated Claremore in 1968.
Correct.
That was probably some of the most turmoil-filled times in our country. Not so much here in Oklahoma as it was in Chicago and every place else, but you got to witness a little bit of that here in Oklahoma. You lived a segregated life up to that point. What was it like living in Claremore, Oklahoma, where your school was a segregated school, then it became a non-segregated school? What was that like?
Well, thanks to the experiences and really the maturity of my parents, in the sense that they taught me and my sister how to assimilate. They were just incredibly committed to education and would tell us all the time that the only way you're going to get out of this situation is to be well educated. And of course, well educated in those days meant your job is going to be that of a school teacher. So my sister, a music teacher, I'm a French teacher, or at least I'm certified to be a French teacher. But I wanted to ultimately go into the diplomatic corps, and decided, let me combine my French degree with a law degree, and hence I went to Washington, D.C. Now, in terms of the tumultuous times in Claremore, there really were no tumultuous times in Claremore. Nevertheless, growing up here in those days, if you will, as I alluded to in my speech this morning, I can remember those of us who were African-American kids not being able to go to the public swimming pool here, right down the street, except on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And when people kind of swell up and get teary-eyed about that, I always comment that, well, that's just my excuse for not being an Olympic swimmer, that's all. If I had 7 days a week, I would have been grand. But, and I also made reference this morning to perhaps, growing up as kids, and we were teenagers, middle teens. A few of the other blacks on the teams, we would go out of town to some of the surrounding towns. And every game, at the end of it, you'd come back on the bus and pull the bus over at the restaurant, go in and have a post-game dinner. But the coach would get off the bus, go inside, and on the bus we were all yucking it up and everything. Then the coach would get back on the bus and say, "Boys, I'm sorry, it's full in there. We have to go down the road and find another restaurant." Well, everybody on the bus was laughing and joking, but the other two black kids and myself would look at each other and just shake our heads, because we knew that empty parking lot, the restaurant wasn't full. Right. It just simply was that they said, "Oh, no, 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 they can't come in here and eat." Right. And that was every time we went out of town for an out-of-town game. And, again, it hurt, but it was the times, and my parents were strict about indoctrinating us with suck it up and keep on going, and that's what we did.
So it didn't have a negative impact on your life?
Very temporarily, just in terms of being extra cautious and being guarded about situations, but by the same token, we learned to assimilate and turn stumbling blocks into stepping stones.